awkward to write it in a song and say, here's my opinion, because I could also say,
What happens when one of music's greatest perfectionists turns against his fellow artists? Today, we're exposing Paul Simon's most bitter rivalries that stunned the entertainment world.
I'll never worry, oh, I should.
This isn't your typical celebrity gossip. We're talking about a musical genius whose ego and grudges allegedly destroyed careers and friendships that should have lasted forever.
But in Japan, there's no line. And he did it. He's a very unusual guy.
Paul Simon created some of the most beautiful songs in American music history. But behind those poetic lyrics and sophisticated melodies lived someone with a reputation for being incredibly difficult. Industry veterans whispered that Simon never forgot an insult and always remembered who crossed him. His standards were impossibly high, and anyone who didn't meet them supposedly became his enemy for life. These weren't just professional disagreements about musical direction. We're revealing personal vendettas that lasted decades and caused pain on both sides. Some of these feuds reportedly involved public humiliation and deliberate career sabotage at the highest levels of the music business. Entertainment insiders have been quietly discussing these explosive conflicts for generations. Now we're finally telling the complete story about Paul Simon's most hated rivals. The #1 spot involves the most famous musical breakup ever recorded. Prepare yourself for 6 tales of artistic brilliance mixed with personal destruction. These conflicts changed how we understand the price of musical genius and creative perfectionism forever. 6. Bob Dylan.
Feel like I'm knocking on heaven's door.
Starting at number 6, we have a rivalry between two of folk music's greatest legends. Paul Simon's relationship with Bob Dylan reportedly mixed admiration with intense jealousy. Sources claimed that Simon could never accept how Dylan received more respect as the voice of a generation.
The guitarists tend to be more rhythm players, I think, than the piano.
While Simon was crafting perfectly structured pop songs, Dylan was supposedly getting praised for sloppy poetry and terrible singing. The tension apparently began in the 1960s Greenwich Village folk scene, where both artists started their careers. Music insiders reported that Simon felt frustrated watching Dylan become the spokesman for their entire generation. He supposedly told close friends that his songwriting was technically superior to Dylan's rough approach. Simon believed that his meticulous attention to melody and harmony deserved the same legendary status that Dylan received for just writing controversial lyrics. Things got worse when critics constantly compared the two singer-songwriters throughout their careers. Former record executives claimed that Simon would become visibly angry whenever journalists suggested Dylan was the superior artist. He reportedly said that Dylan couldn't actually sing and relied on mystique instead of real musical talent. Sources revealed that Simon thought the music world gave Dylan credit for things he accomplished first. The rivalry supposedly continued for decades, with both artists carefully avoiding each other at industry events. Backstage witnesses reported that Simon would leave venues early if Dylan was performing or receiving awards. Festival organizers confirmed that booking both legends on the same bill was nearly impossible because of their mutual discomfort. Music historians revealed that Simon's resentment toward Dylan's iconic status never truly disappeared, even as both men became elder statesmen of American music. 5. James Taylor.
And nothing is going right.
At number 5, we discover a feud that divided the entire 1970s singer-songwriter movement. Paul Simon's rivalry with James Taylor reportedly centered on commercial success and critical respect.
When it's not as successful, it's confusing, and it takes a while even for me to sort it out. Case in point is,
sources claimed that Simon couldn't stand how Taylor's simple, emotional songs outsold his more sophisticated compositions. While Simon was experimenting with complex jazz arrangements, Taylor was supposedly making millions with basic guitar ballads about his feelings. The drama apparently started when both artists were dominating the early 1970s folk pop charts. Industry insiders reported that Simon felt genuinely insulted by Taylor's massive success with straightforward love songs. He supposedly told music producers that Taylor's songwriting was emotionally manipulative and musically simplistic. Simon believed that audiences should appreciate intellectual complexity instead of rewarding obvious sentimentality. Things escalated when Taylor married Carly Simon and became part of music's most famous power couple. Former band members claimed that Paul Simon would make cutting remarks about the Taylor-Simon marriage getting more attention than actual musical achievement. He reportedly said that James Taylor built his career on being handsome and troubled rather than genuinely talented. Sources revealed that Simon thought the media favored Taylor's personal story over his superior craftsmanship. The tension supposedly reached its peak during major award ceremonies throughout the 1970s. Music journalists reported that Simon would refuse to present awards to Taylor or acknowledge his achievements publicly. Concert promoters confirmed that Simon demanded separate dressing areas and performance times at festivals where Taylor was also appearing. Industry veterans revealed that this rivalry represented Simon's frustration with how commercial appeal consistently defeated artistic sophistication in the mainstream music business. 4. Sting.
Well, I hope there's someone gets mine. I hope that someone gets mine.
Number 4 brings us a rivalry that shocked the 1980s music establishment completely. Paul Simon's feud with Sting reportedly exploded over who deserved credit for bringing world music to mainstream audiences.
It's not exactly accurate to say I'm studying seriously because I was always serious about it.
Sources claimed that Simon felt betrayed when Sting started incorporating international sounds after Simon's Graceland album revolutionized the approach. While Simon spent years researching African music authentically, Sting was supposedly just jumping on the trend for commercial gain. The conflict apparently began after Simon released Graceland in 1986 to massive critical and commercial success. Music insiders reported that Simon was furious when Sting immediately started working with international musicians for his solo albums. He supposedly told industry friends that Sting was stealing his entire concept without doing the proper cultural homework. Simon believed that his deep respect for South African musicians set a standard that Sting was now cheapening with superficial world music tourism. Things got personal when both artists started competing for the same Grammy categories and festival bookings. Former tour managers claimed that Simon would make vicious comments about Sting being a pop star playing dress-up with other cultures. He reportedly said that the Police's frontman lacked the intellectual depth to understand what world music collaboration truly meant. Sources revealed that Simon thought Sting's success with world music fusion was undeserved and damaged the credibility of serious cross-cultural musical projects. The rivalry supposedly intensified when critics started comparing their approaches to incorporating international influences. Music journalists reported that Simon refused interviews where Sting's name was mentioned positively. Concert promoters confirmed that both artists demanded to headline separate nights at major venues to avoid any direct comparison of their world music credentials and achievements. 3. Carrie Fisher.
Hey, I'm home. You cannot keep that phone. That's from when they first invented cell phones.
At number 3, we reveal the most painful personal feud on our entire list. Paul Simon's relationship with actress Carrie Fisher reportedly turned from passionate romance into decades of mutual hatred.
I'm still unbelievably grateful for my existence.
Sources claimed that their on-again, off-again relationship during the 1980s created wounds that never healed for either celebrity. While the public saw glamorous premieres and tabloid drama, insiders supposedly witnessed emotional destruction on both sides. The drama apparently began when Simon and Fisher started dating in the early 1980s after her Star Wars fame. Entertainment insiders reported that their relationship was toxic from the beginning, filled with breakups and reconciliations. Simon supposedly couldn't handle Fisher's mental health struggles and Hollywood lifestyle. Fisher allegedly felt that Simon was controlling and emotionally distant, using their relationship as material for his songs without genuine care for her well-being. Things turned vicious when Simon wrote Hearts and Bones about their failed marriage and troubled romance. Former friends claimed that Fisher felt betrayed and humiliated by Simon turning their private pain into public entertainment. She reportedly said that Simon exploited her vulnerabilities to sell records and win critical praise. Sources revealed that Fisher never forgave Simon for profiting from her suffering while she struggled with bipolar disorder and addiction. The feud supposedly lasted until Fisher's death in 2016, with both celebrities occasionally taking public shots at each other. Hollywood insiders reported that Simon and Fisher would avoid events where the other was attending. Industry veterans confirmed that their relationship represented one of entertainment's most destructive combinations of artistic ego and personal dysfunction, creating permanent damage. 2. Randy Newman.
Extreme. We love it. We love it. We love it.
Number 2 exposes a rivalry that divided the entire music industry's critical establishment. Paul Simon's hatred for Randy Newman reportedly stemmed from pure professional jealousy over intellectual credibility.
Not often, but you see, what happens in partnerships is that in its ascendancy.
Sources claimed that Simon couldn't accept how Newman received praise for satirical brilliance and sophisticated arrangements. While Simon was celebrated for poetic sensitivity, Newman was supposedly getting the same respect for songs that were intentionally ironic and darkly humorous. The conflict apparently started in the 1970s when both songwriters were being hailed as American music geniuses. Industry insiders reported that Simon felt threatened by Newman's completely different approach to intelligent songwriting. He supposedly told fellow musicians that Newman's satirical style was just a gimmick hiding simpler musical ideas. Simon believed that his sincere emotional depth represented true artistry, while Newman's irony was just clever wordplay without real substance. Things escalated when Randy Newman started receiving Academy Award nominations for his film scores and songs. Former studio executives claimed that Simon would make dismissive comments about Newman selling out to Hollywood. He reportedly said that writing songs for animated movies didn't require the same artistic courage as his personal compositions. Sources revealed that Simon thought the entertainment industry was rewarding Newman's commercial work over his more serious artistic achievements. The rivalry supposedly peaked during major award ceremonies where both songwriters competed for recognition. Music critics reported that Simon would refuse to acknowledge Newman's contributions to American music in interviews. Industry veterans confirmed that Simon saw Newman as his only real competitor for the title of America's greatest living songwriter, making their mutual resentment inevitable and permanent. 1. Art Garfunkel.
To that tall skyline I come.
Taking the number 1 spot is the most famous musical breakup in entertainment history. Paul Simon's feud with Art Garfunkel reportedly destroyed what should have been music's greatest friendship forever. What makes this rivalry so heartbreaking is how two childhood friends who created timeless harmonies together allegedly ended up hating each other with genuine passion. Sources claimed that their relationship was doomed from the beginning by ego, jealousy, and fundamentally different personalities. The drama apparently started even during Simon and Garfunkel's peak success in the 1960s. Music insiders reported that Simon resented how Garfunkel received equal credit, despite Simon writing all the songs. He supposedly felt that his partner was just a pretty voice who contributed nothing to the creative process. Simon believed that he deserved recognition as the true genius behind their success, while Garfunkel was merely his instrument. Things exploded when Garfunkel started pursuing an acting career during their partnership. Former band managers claimed that Simon felt completely betrayed and abandoned by his partner's Hollywood ambitions. He reportedly said that Garfunkel cared more about movie stardom than their musical legacy together. Sources revealed that Simon viewed the acting career as proof that Garfunkel never truly valued their artistic collaboration. Which rivalry shocked you most? Hit like and subscribe for more explosive music feuds. Drop a comment telling us which legend's enemies you want revealed next.